Ladies and gentlemen. Can you feel it? All right, I see you, Pablo. I see you. Hey, guys, let me tell you something. I am super excited today. Today is such a special day because, this is the LCG podcast, Latin Consulting Group, always talking branding and marketing, going live to you every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Facebook and YouTube. And today, I have an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing business owner, an amazing guy, and all in. I am excited, Pablo. I am excited. He's a good friend of mine as well. But before we actually talk everything about Pablo and we get all fired up about marketing and branding and we start talking all the crazy things that we talk here. Hey, what the heck is Charlie? What is Charlie? Charlie, I don't know. I checked at the door outside and Charlie wasn't there. Pablo, have you seen Charlie?
No,
here?
Where are you, Charlie?
I don't know, Charlie. Let me see if he's under the table or something.
He might be under my chair.
Let me see. I don't know. It's kind of crazy here. But guys, let me tell you. I'm getting a phone call really quick. Hello? What? Charlie's in Cocoa Beach, baby. And he's ready on Zoom to make it happen for us. Let me see. Let me check, guys, really quick because I don't know. This is kind of crazy. Maybe he is. Hey, that it is. That's the man right there.
There he is.
What is up, guys? Listen, you know how we bring, baby, Latin Consulting Group, LCG podcast each and every week. And I'm in Cocoa Beach with the family having a great time. I still did not want to miss today's episode, guys, because we got Pablo in the building.
Yes.
He's going to be talking some really cool technology, some really cool apps, some modern stuff, keeping us up to date. And that's what we're doing, guys. We're talking enthusiasm, marketing, ideas, different things. And today is no different. So I'm having a great time in Cocoa Beach with the family. But we are live, guys. And we want to let you know that wherever you're at, we're bringing energy, enthusiasm. And I personally did not want to miss today's show because we got Pablo in the house. So I love it. Thanks for, by the way, shout out to Fiesta Media for making this happen, guys. All right. Elio is busting his butt always. And the fact that I'm in Cocoa Beach, technology is accurate, up to date, and I can still be with you guys and learn today from Pablo. I'm pumped up. So thank you, Elio and Fiesta Media, for making it happen each and every week, baby.
Likewise, brother. Thank you for taking the time from your vacations to be here with us. We're super excited. And now going back to our amazing guest, a good friend of mine, I would say like one of the greatest examples of giving back to the community as an entrepreneur and helping other businesses grow. I have my amazing friend. I am very proud of him, everything that is going on right now with his career, to talk about marketing, branding, to talk about some new cool apps that it's not like you must have depending on your target audience. Let's welcome the one and only Pablo CASILIMAS.
Thank you so much, Elio. That was too kind. Super excited to be with you guys today.
Yes, brother. Yes. We're super excited.
Elio, this is great. I'm really excited to have Pablo on. I know you've been mentioning to me of everything Pablo does in the community. But Pablo, if you can share with the listeners out there, how'd you get started? What do you got going on? 161. What's going on in your life right now?
Totally, yeah. So back in 2015, when I was a student at UF, I started a marketing agency because I realized that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start a business. And so I thought, what better way to learn about business than to start a marketing agency? I'll have the opportunity to work with all kinds of businesses and work closely with the CEOs, and I can learn lessons from them, right? And so that's what I started doing. I started going around town with a camera and trying to sell my services to different businesses, nonprofits, started building the network. And over time, as I learned more and more about marketing, one of the things I realized was that, marketing is a very important thing for businesses, but at the end of the day, that's not what makes or breaks a business. The product is what makes or breaks a business. And when I realized that, that's what made me kind of go into the work that we're doing at 161 Group, right? Because ultimately, as a business, whatever product or service you provide is an exchange of value, right? So the more value you can create for somebody, the more money you can generate. And so now what we're doing with 161 is actually helping early stage tech startups. And we do a 10-week program for founders, and we do it 3 times a year, so spring, summer, and fall. and we bring in successful entrepreneurs. We bring them in to speak every single week. We bring in mentors, and then we bring in investors to help them get capital. So these are not necessarily small businesses. These are startups. So these are companies that usually software products that can grow and scale very, very fast, very big.
That's cool. Have you always been on the tech side? Because marketing has, radio, TV. There's traditional, and then there's like very modern techie stuff. Have you always gravitated towards the modern technology?
Yeah, I've always been very in technology. Like for the past, until COVID hit, I went to the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in Las Vegas. I went there back since 2017. I went 4 years in a row. And that was one of the most exciting events ever. You get to see, it's the largest tech event in the world, largest consumer tech. And you get to see the latest technology on the market before it comes out. And you get to talk to all these companies and stuff. It's super exciting. I used to plan trips out there. We would get groups of like 50 entrepreneurs. We would get a mansion in Vegas. We would all stay there and go to the conference every day, and then networking events at night. So yeah, that's I've always been into technology.
Elio, mansions in Vegas. What are we doing with our lives? We need to start hanging with Pablo.
Yeah, let's go. When is the upcoming event? When is this event happening again?
So it happens in January every year. It's usually the second week of January, so usually around the 6th to the 12th, around there. And it's a 4-day event. And the only thing is, it's a huge event. Like, we're talking about, this is one of the largest events in the world. Like, 500,000 people fly into Las Vegas for this event. It's huge. You need to take Ubers and Lyfts and buses to get to the different conference centers, because they have, it's like all of Vegas. All the conference centers in Vegas are booked for this. So, but we're no longer planning the trip, because ever since COVID hit, we may do it again in the future. But right now, we're really focused on building what we're doing, which is the accelerator, which we launched because of COVID. Because before that, all we were doing was in-person events, and then we couldn't do it anymore. So then we just launched this virtual accelerator, which has been amazing. So
nice. And just for people listening out there, because they're going to share this, they're going to send it to a friend. We have listeners from all over the place. You can help someone locally as well as nationally.
Yeah, so we've had companies go through our program. We've had a lot of local startups, and we've had it all over the country. We've had one out of Seattle, LA, San Francisco. We've had a few from Boston, NYU, New York. So yeah, all over the country we've had. But totally, we can help local startups, and we actually prefer to help local startups. The only thing is, there's not as many, right? So then we have to. But whoever's out there starting a tech startup, we want to help you. So definitely reach out, and we're happy to help.
That is awesome. I
was going to say, I feel like we're going to lose Pablo, man. He's going to end up in San Francisco or New York or somewhere.
I already know. I already know that, and I already know where he's going next. I don't even want to talk about it, because that makes me feel sad. So, so anyways, talking about helping people and appreciating and supporting and kind of like incentivating, I will say, we have marketing news as always, and Pablo is part of all of that. And the first marketing news, as you guys know, our audience, people that follow our podcast, we have this segment. And the first one, Charlie, if you could please introduce this first news that we're talking about.
Well, so this is a really hot topic, and I want to make sure we touch on this, because we're always bringing stuff that's up to date, current. And this is about as current as it gets, guys. I don't know if you know what's going on, but now athletes have an opportunity to make money on local and national endorsements, right? So if you're Zion Williamson, the next NBA star, everyone wants a piece of you. If you're a local Gator swimmer, that can help this local community, the community wants a piece of you. Now each athlete can market themselves and make a couple bucks. This is really, really interesting, guys. We live in Gator country. We have one of the best universities in our backyard. And now what I want to hear from you guys, and I want to let you guys know, and I want to hear Elio and Pablo's thoughts on, what are your thoughts on players earning side money on top of their scholarship, and how can that help local companies? Do you feel like it's an advantage to the companies to the players? Is everyone happy? Do you think it's going to be a mess? I mean, this could go so many ways.
Let me tell you, this is huge. But I want Pablo to begin, but I already have my answer. This is awesome. So Pablo, what do you think about this?
So I think this is really, really great, actually, because if you think about it, collegiate athletes work really, really hard. I mean, it's essentially a full-time job. They're putting a lot of wear and tear on their bodies, and they don't make anything, right, in most cases. And then you've got the professional players who are making a ton of money in some cases and have huge sponsorship deals, right? And the difference in how hard they're working is really not that big, right? Collegiate athletes are working really hard too. And so I think this is great. The schools are making so much money off these athletes. The athletes deserve to get a piece of the pie. They deserve to make something here, right? And so I'm really happy for that. And I think this creates a lot of opportunities. What I'm curious about is how this is going to play out, because I do know that most high profile professional athletes have agents, right? And those are the people who help manage their sponsorships and any type of marketing deals that they sign. So I don't know how this is going to play out for collegiate athletes. Is there going to be more?
That's a good point, Pablo and Elio. Let me ask you guys. This is really interesting. What business? And if you're watching, guys, and you're an owner of a stem cell pain management, or perhaps a surgeon, or an auto dealer, or an energy bar. I mean, think of the sky's the limit. Who do you think is going to take the most advantage of this, in your opinion, Pablo?
That's a great question. I mean, I think if you look at who spends the most marketing dollars on sponsoring athletes in general, we see a lot of big law firms that kind of have this they have this like machine gun approach, right? They throw money at a lot of different marketing avenues. So I can definitely see law firms going at it. But then of course, sports targeted everything, right? So not just apparel, not just drinks, not just food, everything that has to do with sports, health, wellness, nutrition. I think those are the brands that are going to be looking at this the most and are probably already trying to figure out how to get some athletes on their brand, or some brand on some athletes.
I agree with Pablo. And actually, going back to the first question that has everything to do with the second one, I mean, number one, as Pablo said, I mean, athletes that are working super hard, they earn it already. Okay, scholarships are not enough. So now, what I am very excited about is that how much are these athletes are going to bring to the table for our business community. Imagine you paying 50 grand to an athlete, or whatever you're going to pay them. You're going to incentivize this athlete to actually focus on how they bring value to some businesses that they can partner with, instead of just thinking about a scholarship. The bigger picture. This is a bigger picture for them. This is a bigger vision. This is something that is expanding the horizon of goals and dreams of these athletes, that now they just don't go to Miapa to get some coffee. By the way, shout out to Miapa. They're actually going to Miapa because they are partnering with Miapa and they are passionate about selling the coffee, because you're paying the athletes. So I'm excited about how much value they can bring to the business community. They can give back to the community because of this incentivization. So that's the passion that I can feel. But again, as Pablo mentioned, now we got to see if they are going to get paid actually what they need to get paid. Who is getting there?
Elio, I was just going to say, if I had to play devil's advocate here for a second, guys, where is the line drawn? If you give an athlete $150,000, which is a ton of money for a young kid, is he gonna be more focused on that endorsement and maybe not train as hard as Pablo said, or is he gonna lose focus a little bit because now he has a lot of money in his pocket? I like the paying athletes. I just don't know where this could go, and I don't know, man. It's good. I'm happy for the athletes, but it has potential to be a tremendous disaster.
I agree. And just to emphasize that point, I think nobody works harder than somebody who absolutely needs it, right? So an athlete has very little money, doesn't come from a lot of money, and is doing it because they want to be able to provide for their family, right, and and allow their parents and their family to live a good life. Those athletes are working really, really hard because they've got a really strong reason.
Yes.
But now, if they are still a collegiate athlete and they're making six figures, right? Does that change their work ethic? I guess it's going to depend on the person.
I love it. I love it. The worth ethic, man. You just hit the nail on the head.
Elio, money changes people, and sometimes it's for a good way, sometimes not for a good way. I mean, I don't know. It's a really interesting situation. It could motivate them to train harder because now you got a couple bucks, and you're like, wait a minute, I like the taste of that. I want more, right? So
I gotta. I'm gonna disagree with you on that point, okay, Charlie. I gotta tell you something. I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day. It's not like money change people. It's just like money gives people the opportunity to show who they really are. So
I like that.
If you don't have work ethic, maybe you are hiding it behind this humble guy who basically don't have any money to showcase who he really is. So once he signs a couple contracts, big money, big times, indisciplines can come. I agree with you guys on that 150%. And then he or she are gonna actually show if you're the swimmer that you use, if you're the passionate swimmer or track and field athlete that you used to be. So now we're gonna see who you really are. So maybe, you know what, maybe this is a strategy to see who is who and how much they can achieve based on what Pablo just mentioned, worth ethic. Because baby, attitude, it is everything, and worth ethic is just one of the 7 principles to success. So this is very interesting, this topic.
And I want to ask Pablo a cool question because Pablo comes from an agency mindset. So Pablo, like, if you had a relationship with an athlete, right? Because you were friends with him, and he's like, well, my friend Pablo owns a marketing agency. Pablo, you know what's up marketing? Take me on. I mean, think about it. Is that something now, Pablo, that you might get into because of the times changing? Now you help startups, and now you have maybe an athlete or two under your agency. I mean, God, that's powerful. Like, is that something you would get into if you had the relationship?
Yeah, I mean, if we had the relationship and if it made sense, right? It has to make sense from an economic standpoint because a lot of the startups that we're helping, they're bootstrapped, they don't have a lot of cash, and we typically don't actually, at that early stage, we don't recommend them spending a lot of money on marketing because usually what's more important at the early stage is building their product, right? Making sure they have a world-class product. And once they have that and they, raise more money from investors, at that point is when they're at the Series A, Series B stage, the growth stage.
I was actually going a step further and saying like 161. Imagine like what was the old UF swimmer? Was it Tyler? It was Lochte, right?
Brian Lochte.
Brian Lochte. Brian Lochte.
Yes.
Okay, so imagine if that dude showed up to the pool and just took off his 161 shirt like that. Like, what?
Yeah, or what if he had
he'll be like, what is?
What if he had one of those?
What is 161? And then it was your website would blow up. I mean, that is exciting.
Yeah, what if he had one of those temporary tattoos, right? That'd be really cool.
God, yes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, no, I love it.
But talking about trends, talking about things that are going on, talking about things that you need to do for your business. Baby, let me tell you something. We've been talking about and teasing many episodes. I guess from the 5th episode about Clubhouse. And people have been texting me, sending me emails. I'm telling you on Messenger, Helio, when are you guys going to talk about this? Well, let me tell you something, baby. Today is the time that you've been waiting for. But I know the one who is going to be talking about that. Let me tell you. It's been very exciting because you know what? It is Pablo, the one who's going to be talking about what is Clubhouse, Pablo.
Absolutely. Let's go. So, do you want me to just talk about it, or do you have a particular question? Or
well, I have multiple questions for you, and I'm sure Charlie does too. But
if you could do a general, I mean, from the how do they get it? What is it? What's the basis of it? Like, just
what is Clubhouse first before we jump into the questions?
Okay, absolutely. So Clubhouse is, I would call it the most recent social network that launched that
Nice.
has just blown up very, very quickly. There's millions and millions of people using it. It particularly grew the beginning of this year, and actually that's kind of when I got on it in early January. It went from, it only had like 1 million users, and now we're talking about it's upwards of 30, 40, 50 million people on it, and it's growing really, really fast. So anyways, what is Clubhouse? Clubhouse is a audio-based social network in a sense. So the way it works is you open up the app, you can scroll around and you can see these different rooms, right? And these different rooms have different titles. So let's say that you are, the Fiesta Media and you're interested in podcasts and promoting podcasts and creating and producing podcasts. Maybe you're scrolling and you see a room that says the podcast room, right? You can join that, and then there's people on the stage, right? So when you join, you're going to be in the audience, and you can automatically start listening to the people on the stage, who sometimes they could be world-class experts. You know, they could be somebody in Europe, they could be somebody in California, right? They could be somebody in your backyard. And so it's people from all over the world talking about all these topics. And then if you have something to say, you can raise your hand. You hit this button, you raise your hand, you can get called onto the stage. So anyways, it's an amazing platform, and I have been utilizing it a ton for the work that we do at 161 Group.
As a matter of fact, I want to explain physically what Clubhouse is. I want you guys to visualize it, to hear it, to see it. And so, because Pablo is talking about the stage. What is the stage, right? It's when people are actually talking. This is where the speakers, whoever is talking, that's the stage. So, for example, this is how it looks like. Actually, on your phone is an app, right? So now I am gonna jump into this room. Profitable
On Facebook. I've done a training on there, how to get 10,000 followers on Facebook in 30 days. Now, the reason why that's important, Facebook owns Instagram cross-pollinates a Clubhouse. So you get omnipresence growth. But imagine...
Guys, these people are live right now.
How many people are in that room, Pablo?
So right now, there is, I'll tell you, because Pablo is in the other side of the world. Oh, wow, there is a lot of people in this room. And you can see it. Let me see really quick.
So I guess what I'm asking is the big name people, the Gary V's and those.
493 people, Charlie. 493 people right now.
Mm-hmm.
How are the big names getting in there, Pablo? Like, is Clubhouse as a business reaching out to the Gary V's and saying, "Hey, we need you," and they pay him? Is it an endorsement, or is Gary V starting the room?
No, so this is what's really interesting about Clubhouse. And I have been in rooms and I've heard the founders of Clubhouse speak many times.
Wow.
And they are incredible. They're so sharp. And one of the things they said from the very beginning is, we will not pay anybody to be on Clubhouse. So they have not paid anybody to be on Clubhouse. So people have chosen to be on there, or have been invited on there, or maybe somebody else has paid them to be on there, right? So somebody like Gary Vee might want to go on Clubhouse and host his own room, right? And I've already seen huge names, all the sharks from Shark Tank. Yeah, Grant Cardone. There's been this huge, one of the most successful venture capital firms in the world, A16Z, Andressen Horowitz. They have been on Clubhouse very active because they're actually the lead investor in Clubhouse. So they are bringing tons of people on there.
So Pablo, for the people out there that are like, "Oh my God, this is new, I got to learn into this," why is it informational based? Am I going on to learn something, or am I going on to socialize about a topic I'm interested in? Like, why am I going on Clubhouse? So
there's a lot of different reasons, right? So some people are on there for fun, of course, just having fun conversations. Some people do comedy shows on there. But there's, I think the majority of people are using it for informational purposes, right? To learn things, because there's a lot of subject matter experts on there hosting rooms who have their own clubs. And the other thing that I see the most, that this is the reason that I use it a lot, is for networking. It's literally like, I used to network so much before COVID. I used to go to so many in-person events, conferences, and then when COVID hit, that all went out the window. But then when Clubhouse launched, my network started to blow up, because I would just go on Clubhouse all the time. And I started to meet so many other people, like other startup founders and investors, and just other really sharp people that I've connected with through Clubhouse. So
Pablo, can you start your own room?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody can start their own room. And so that's one of the reasons that a lot of people are using it, because so here's the interesting thing, right? You have a show like this, the Latin Consulting Group podcast. The interesting thing about Clubhouse is you already have an audience on there. So something like this, you've got to produce it, and then you've got to get it out too, right? There's two things there. So this gets out because you're live streaming it through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is. And you've got to promote it. You've got to tag people, push it out, share. Clubhouse, you already have an audience on there. So it's like you can do a live podcast, and you don't have to worry about the promotion. You don't have to worry about any of this because people automatically get notifications.
Yes.
And they will join the room if they're interested in the topic or if they like who's speaking.
Well,
so that is amazing. So let me use I don't know why this popped in my head. Let's say Lisa McGarry. We love Lisa McGarry. She owns Celebrate Primary Care. Shout out to Lisa.
Yes.
If Lisa said she wants to go on and start talking, just primary care, medical stuff, and maybe non-insurance, which is her side of the field, she can go in, start that forum, that talk, and people will just like flood in.
So yes and no, because so if she just joined the platform and she doesn't have any followers and people don't really know what she's doing, then probably not. But let's say that she joins and every single week, there's some people who do it every single day, which I think is crazy, but they're consistent with it. And that's how you build an audience, is that consistency, right? Or if she somehow lands like she's going to interview some really big name, or maybe like the Surgeon General of the United States or whatever it is, that might be really big because people recognize the name and they're going to jump in there.
For example, right now, there is a room that is called Dare to Dream with Hungry to Speak. LS Brown community. Let's see what they are talking about.
Really wanted, only to find out it wasn't everything you wanted it to be. As I stood there crying, trying to catch my breath, he looked down at me and said, "You'll be a stronger person because you met me." And in that moment, I realized I had surrendered. I surrendered who I was. I surrendered all my dreams. And I realized that if anybody was going to save me, I had to save me. That in that moment, it was a defining moment that I had to become an owner of my life.
Man, this is awesome.
That is deep right there.
Yeah.
She's going in.
Yeah. She is.
she was getting it on. Hey, this is a pretty cool app, guys, and the reason is. The reason we wanted to talk about this app with Pablo is because Pablo has been taking advantage of this app tremendously. It's been great for you, Pablo. I follow you. Honestly, I know very active, but the more I talk to Pablo about it, the more I actually want to get into it if my two babies allow me. But let me tell you.
Hold on, really quick. I have a question for Pablo. Pablo, we're trying to give advice to people out there, marketing advice, ideas. This is what we're talking about, right? So would you say for someone like us, Latin Consulting Group, we have a podcast. Would you say aside from Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4:00, we should dedicate a day to go on Clubhouse and just talk marketing and then build that following?
So what I would say to that is I think it depends on who you're trying to reach. So you need to think about your long-term goal with this podcast and who you're trying to reach and what's the ultimate goal here. And then you need to think about
new business owners that need marketing help.
Okay. And now, so you want to think about can you provide your marketing services to businesses that are in other cities around the country? And if the answer is yes, then absolutely you want to be on Clubhouse, because on Clubhouse, especially if you just jump on now, you're not necessarily going to connect with a bunch of people who are in Gainesville. You might start meeting people from all over the country. And so if that's the goal, then that could be a really, really powerful medium to do it. And so you just want to think about who you're trying to reach and how you want to structure that.
So let me ask another question that I have for you, Pablo. I see that after when Clubhouse came out, for example, Snapchat kind of like start fading out. YouTube came out with the short beta stories. Actually, Instagram started the audio message, so you can answer your followers not only with texting messages but also with audio message. So it's kind of like Clubhouse starts shaking algorithms, starts shaking people and say, hey, wake up because I am now in the game. So do you think that Clubhouse is having a major impact in the business community globally? What do you think?
It's having a huge impact globally, without a doubt. And we're already seeing, you guys may not be aware, I don't know how much you guys use Twitter, but Twitter outright just copied them completely. Like they created Twitter Spaces like a few months ago.
Wow.
And so they have their own, it's an exact version of Clubhouse. Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't used it at all. I don't know much about it, but I know that it's there and I see people using it. So it's really big. And particularly in the tech world. That's the world that I'm in, and it's huge in that world. So I can't speak to every single industry, but at least in my industry, it is really big.
That is awesome. Hey, really quick, because we are actually almost getting close.
No way that was 30 minutes.
Yeah, bro, I know, and I am loving it, every single bit of it. But it is the marketing tip of the day, guys. Marketing tip of the day. And we've been talking here with Charlie live from Cocoa Beach, Florida,
Yep.
Pablo from 161, and Rutex video production company. You are looking to get a brand new video production that make you look good, baby. Rutex is what you need to look out for, because Rutex gonna do the production, the editing, they do it all. Like right now we're collaborating actually with Rutex in a reality show, cooking show, you name it, they do it all. But that was my commercial for Rutex, by the way. But now it is a marketing tip of the day. If you don't want to miss everything that we've been talking here, we have a huge marketing news. Huge main course of the show was Clubhouse, the whys, the why you should, why you must, what you need to learn and know. But now it's marketing tip. What would you say, Pablo, to any entrepreneur, business owner, not only in Gator Nation, Gainesville, Florida, but around the world that is watching or listening to our podcast? What is a marketing tip that you will give them so they can keep pursuing their goals based on the actual trends that we have right now on technology?
So the best marketing tip that I've ever heard, without a doubt, is focus on signal over noise, right? The reason most people don't get the results that they want to get in marketing is because they're focused on the noise and they're not focused on the signal. So let me explain what this means. So people who focus on noise, so let's say that you're in the mountains and you're on a phone call with somebody, right? And you don't have good signal up there. And you try to raise the volume because the person you're talking to can't hear you. And you try to raise the volume, but they still can't hear you because you have no signal, right? So maybe what you should do is actually drive down from the mountain until you have signal, and then you can talk to them. So let me explain how this makes sense in a business context. So a lot of people will just think that marketing is a solution to everything and just try to throw money at marketing their product or their service, but they haven't actually solved the underlying problem or the underlying thing that needs to be fixed, which is the product, right? And so when you focus on the product, you're focusing on the signal. So if you start marketing a ton and you're not getting results, it's probably because the product isn't there. And so this is one of the biggest pieces of advice that I give founders that go through our program, our accelerator program at 161 Group. And this is relevant not just to startups, but this is relevant to small businesses too, is don't try to get 100 customers. Don't try to generate $100,000 or $1 million. Find 10 customers and make them super, super, super happy. Make them love your product. And when I say that, I mean, when somebody absolutely loves your product, they leave and they call their friends and they tell them about it, right? When you go to a restaurant and you have the best experience of your life and you have the best steak you ever had, you call your friend and you tell them, you got to try this place. It's so good. And so that's what business owners and startups need to focus on, is having the best product. And then the marketing is the icing on the cake. It's kind of like the fuel on the fire that's going to take you to a whole other level. But you got to focus on the signal.
I love that, man. Elio, you know why I'm laughing, right? Because I feel like Pablo has been watching every single one of our shows from the get. Pablo, that is exactly what we preach, man. I mean, we really preach a marketing plan, developing a plan, and then once you know your target audience and then you know your plan, then you can do different campaigns. So I love that, Pablo. To your point, if you don't have a good signal, forget the noise, man. I don't care how much money you're spending. I don't care what the budget is. If you don't have a good message, a good signal, a good target audience, I don't care what the noise is. It's not going to work. And that is exactly what we've been preaching here on the LCG podcast.
Yeah,
Fantastic tip.
one last thing to add to that. The founder of one of the largest advertising agencies in the country, Ogilvy and Mather, said that if you market a bad product, it'll just kill the company quicker. And that's so true, because more people are going to find out that you have a bad product, and then you're just going to go out of business. So yeah, it's an interesting point.
And to that, guys, I want to add really quick. Elio and I, we're very confident at the LCG podcast. We have a ton of connections. We have a ton of ideas and creativity. But we tell you many times, we're not perfect. If we don't know, we're going to find out, and we're going to learn, and we're going to reach out to people like Pablo that can help us. We are well connected, and we are learning every single day too, right? All we can bring is this enthusiasm, this knowledge, this marketing to you guys in this form of the podcast. And we are tremendously excited because as you guys learn, we continue to get better, and we continue to bring ideas, which is what this show is all about. So Pablo, I love it, man. Great job today, bud.
Yes, no, I loving it. And to keep adding to that marketing tip before we actually go, this is something that I learned from Paul Prusakowski, my partner, my friend, someone that actually has impacted my life tremendously thanks to Pablo. Actually, I met Paul, as a matter of fact, from Pablo. Paul told me something that actually is going to stick with me. He said that, like, you need to focus on the product, but once you find that formula, don't change it. Because when it works, you need to protect that formula. Because that's what is actually that business model, that formula, that system, that workflow. It works for you, it works for your client, it makes them happy. Protect that. And don't allow anybody to come here, and it doesn't mean that don't listen to everybody, learn from everybody, keep growing, but protect the formula, protect the product, because
protect your signal. Get that
signal.
There you go. Hey, I gotta tell you something, man. If you that are watching are gonna watch tonight, tomorrow, next year, I don't care. If you are not sharing this, if you are not learning from this or clicking that subscribe button, that follow button on YouTube, on Facebook, the LCG podcast, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, the Latin Consulting Group Agency on LinkedIn, you're missing out. Get out of here. You're missing out. Tell me something. Yep. Hey, I am fine. Hey, good job, brother. I love the marketing tip, Pablo, and you're awesome, man. What can I say?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we need Pablo back. Pablo, we're definitely going to have you back. This was fantastic.
Let's do it again. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So keep killing it, man. You're doing great. And thank you truly for being on today's show.
Yeah, thank you for making the time. Okay, Charlie, we're gonna leave you alone so you can keep drinking beer at the beach, having fun, baby, and all of that. Pablo and I were gonna say goodbye to our audience, to the show, and also thanks to you for making time for our audience, our followers, for us here. So we're gonna see Charlie at the studio next Tuesday. Yeah. Next Tuesday. So Charlie, brother, thank you very, very much once again, and say hello to the family.
Will do, bud. See you guys. Thanks.
See you, bro.
Later.
Take it easy.
Hey, Pablo, that was fire, brother. That was fire.
I told you were gonna have to call a fire truck.
No, actually, I can hear like I can hear the fire department coming up. No, thank you so much, honestly, for being here. Thank you so much for everything that you do for startups, for people that are hungry to keep growing, to continue to expand their business here in the north central Florida. So Pablo, last question, and then we go. How can people, what is the best way to reach out to you?
The best way to reach me is on social media at Don Pablo with 2 L's on Instagram, or you can find me on Twitter, Pablo_CASILIMAS. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Also, you can go on the website 161group.com, learn more about what we're doing, or you can go to the clubhousechronicles.com and read our blog. Or you can just email me, Pablo@161group.com, and that's all spelled out. 161group.com.
Love it, love it. Okay, guys, so now you know how to reach Pablo, how to keep growing, how to continue this learning process that it is endless, baby. That's why we don't know everything. We're just passionate about learning and growing with you guys. So we're gonna see you every Tuesday and Thursday. Charles Ricky with Elio Piera, the LCG podcast, just because this is lifestyle marketing on YouTube and on Facebook Live. We're gonna see you guys next time. Pablo, thank you, brother. We're gonna see you.
Thank you so much for having me.